out of the ordinary insights. Brought to you by Investex Specialist Bank.
You're watching Captains of Industry. I'm speaking to Shaik, Group Executive of the International Financing Division of the Development Bank of South Africa. As I said, we're coming back to your time with Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, who is now touted as the most powerful woman on the African continent, being the chairperson of the African Union. As her special advisor, take us back to that time.
Well, I first met Minister Zuma when she was the then spouse of Jacob Zuma, and that's way back in London. And when I joined the Foreign Affairs, which was in 1997, I was posted as Consul General to Hamburg and then as the ambassador to Algeria. And her first country that she visited when she was appointed as Minister of Foreign Affairs, as it was then called, was Algeria, because Algeria was hosting in 1999 the OAU summit, which was held in Algiers.
Organization for African Unity.
Yes, the Organization for African Unity, which is now called the African Union. And she came there, and I was posted there in preparation for her visit and President Mbeki's visit. We opened she inaugurated the embassy, which we had, and my relationship with her began, and she gave me all the kind of support that I needed for what was considered in Algeria then as a hardship posting. You'll know that Algeria was going through all of its particular problems. President Bouteflika was just elected, and he had the task of changing Algeria into a stable country. So those were the tough days in Algeria, and she gave me an enormous amount of support. And I think in recognition,
your relationship developed from there.
Yes, in recognition of the good work that we were doing in Algeria, in my last year in Algeria, she then asked whether I would take up the post of her special advisor, which I did, and I joined her in 2003. Let me tell you a few things about Nkosazana. I have never met such a hard-working minister. She has...
In terms of the number of hours she puts into the day.
Just in terms of the amazing number of hours that she puts into a job, but not just putting in the hours, coming to understand the very detail of the work. So as her advisor, I had enormous complaints from my wife because my wife hardly ever saw me. It's not uncommon that you work to the wee hours of the morning and you have to report back in the early hours of the morning. But it was exciting. With her, I got a sense to see different parts of the world which I didn't see. I came to understand her way in which she relates to people. She has an enormous amount of respect on the continent and globally. And she has a particular soft way of getting her way. And in diplomacy, that counts a hell of a lot. So I really did enjoy my time with her, and I hope in my new capacity that I would see her from time to time and still engage with her work now.
Mo, I want to talk a little about your brother, Shaik. I won't spend much time on him, but how did that impact you? The very high-profile court case, the subsequent outcome, and the furore around Shaik and his relationship with President Zuma, obviously then as financial advisor to the president.
While it had an enormous impact, not only on me, but also on the family and the extended family, partly because we were subjected to enormous media scrutiny, and it's not nice to constantly read about your family or your brother and so forth in the paper. So yes, it did have an enormous impact. Part of the problem was in a sense, and I still maintain the view that he did not act criminally, but perhaps the way he advertised his association with President Zuma was perhaps inappropriate. And I think that is what the court felt and upheld that. But it will for always amaze me about I think it's a phenomenal lesson in relationships with politically connected people.
But it hasn't impacted your relationships on the political front, or has it? Do I stand under correction?
I think that my relationships have been somewhat separate from his. I mean, I have had a longer political involvement, a longer political history. I've been active in not only constructing or bringing about a new government, but participating in the challenges of that government. So I think a lot of people did see me different and see me separately from him. But yes, it was difficult, partly because he is my brother, and I believed he did no wrong. I was very supportive of him. He was going through a very difficult time. And as a family member, I felt it was only proper to stand by him and to deal with the issues that emerged. And you will know that I then left government in 2005 to take over the company he had, to bring it towards legal compliance, to attempt a business rescue. It was a company that faced an enormous amount of risk, enormous amount of challenge. The revenue stream was drying up, and I had to dispose of some of the assets in a way that achieved legal compliance. So I had to fill in that role to reconstruct and save whatever could be saved, but in a legally proper way. Yeah.
How are you finding the transition now from intelligence into private sector, and obviously your sojourn into the family business, so to speak, and the rectifying that must stand you in good stead?
Yes, I must say that I felt that all of the roles I have played in the past has in fact prepared me for the role I'm playing now. If you look at intelligence, intelligence is essentially the study of political risk. And to develop the kind of interventions or the early warning to see that risk, and to develop the interventions to counter that risk. While developing financing is very much part of that, because development financing is at the intersection of politics, financing, and infrastructure.
Is it difficult to stop thinking like an intelligence agent?
Well, it is. Intelligence is also a methodology. Yeah? So I think the methodology gets ingrained in you. You see risk differently. You are not overwhelmed by the pessimism of the risk, and you balance your overconfidence of being able to achieve everything. So it helps you, in a sense, to balance confidence and risk on the one hand. Secondly, my furrow into diplomacy allowed me to better understand how to work on the continent, because politically the continent is at a stage where political relationships still matter, and that is part of the competitive advantage that we have as a DBSA, because we have those kind of relationships with other sovereigns on the continent, which we pursue to the interest of our own infrastructure financing efforts. Yeah.
What do you say to those critics who say you got the job at the DBSA because of your political connections with President Zuma?
Well, firstly, I'll say to them they're wrong. Secondly, I'll say to them, go through the interview process that I've been through. And there were three such processes. The first was a long interview with the headhunting group. The second was a very long interview with the board committee that was established. And the third was the assessment of by an independent company on the skills and the characteristics I have and to see whether that's a match. And by the way, that was a 6-hour examination by an independent
so a very
company.
thorough, independent
Very
process.
thorough, and I was pleasantly surprised that I made the grade. You would also know that in preparation for applying for the job, I went to Harvard Business School.
Executive leadership course.
Went to executive leadership course, and I think that trained me and skilled me.
And you managed to negotiate that as part of your exit strategy.
Yes,
that's
that
a very
was,
clever move.
Well, that was I had to do that because there's no way I could. Well, in a way, I did pay for the course because it came out of my negotiation package.
Is it worthwhile for other executives?
I mean, I don't want to plug Harvard Business School here, but the executive program was a very excellent program, really excellent. I learned a hell of a lot. I felt it was a knowledge incubation place. I developed a global network of people in the business sector that I call on when I have challenges.
It's all about the network, isn't it?
It's all about the network, yes.
Mo, what do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy
You've got a very
is
interesting legacy to this point, and certainly a successful one. So going forward.
that lived a person on the continent of Africa who did his all to make a difference to the lives of African people, and who made a contribution towards infrastructure service delivery on the continent. So that's a legacy I would like to leave.